Hi, good afternoon. I had met a person on Telegram last year. Her name was Dr. Simone Gold, and she owned America's Frontline Doctors. And she shared some things with me on the website, and it was about her experiences and her work as a doctor and her medical profession. She shared with me on Telegram for a good bit, and then later she told me that the President Trump had sponsored a site that was for uh, investments, and that it was bringing great returns. And she linked me with another person on Telegram that was administering the site. And so I connected with that person, and she asked me to invest in this site, which I started to do on a small scale initially. And I had pulled some money from an investment account that I had with a lady that was a friend of mine that had set this up years ago, and it had grown a good bit. So we were taking money out of that and putting it in my checking account. And I was taking money from the checking account, and I would go in my bank and withdraw like up to $10,000 in $100 bills and go to the ATM and send the investment to this link, because $100,000 was the maximum daily that you could invest in this ATM link. So my deposits grew rapidly, and so I continued to invest in this site. When I'd invested about $100,000, it had grown to $150,000. And I thought, wow, that's doing very well. So I continued until my investment account was about $250,000 was depleted. And my investments had grown to about 400,000. And I bought for $500 each. I bought gift cards and sent them to this person on Telegram. And she asked if I had other investments. And I said, well, yes, I have about 50,000 in an IRA. And so we liquidated that and put that into this account. And I had about 25,000 that I invested in gold and silver. And she asked me to liquidate that. And my account continued to grow. And so she asked if I owned property. And I said, I own a home and 10 acres that I purchased in 2020. And I used the funds out of my account, and I paid $150,000 cash and took out a $100,000 mortgage at the advice of my investment person, who said we should keep money in the account to keep it growing. So then she asked if I could take out a second mortgage for $40,000, which I did. And we sent that money into this account, and it just continued to grow. I could go in there and look at it, and I had invested about $350,000, and it had grown to $600,000. And so I asked to withdraw some of these funds, and she said I could purchase a gift card for $3,000, which I did. And that was towards the end of the summer. She said the card had been approved and that I would receive my card in the mail on November the 25th. And I said, well, I needed access to the funds now because I've depleted all of my assets and invested them in this site that you had recommended. And she said, well, you'll just have to wait. And I said, well, that's not acceptable to me. So I went to the fraud specialist at the local sheriff's office and explained the situation to him. He had software, he was able to take the site and run it through his software. He came back and told me, he said, this site is a fraud. It's a total scam. Don't give them any more money. And so I had already stopped doing that because I didn't have any more money. And he says, also, it's located outside of the United States in a country, Dubai. And he said, it's going to be virtually impossible to recover any of your assets. And so I told my contact on Telegram, I said that I had investigated this and it's been reported as a fraud and scam. And she said she actually cut me off and said, well, she stopped talking to me, and then they cut me off from the website that I had also, where I was able to see my money, and I was unable to withdraw any of that money from my account. So I was kind of in a quandary as to what to do. The person that I had been talking to initially, Dr. Simone Gold with America's Frontline Doctors, who had recommended this site to me, I looked on America's Frontline Doctors and they didn't have a phone number where I could call them. And so I found an email address to her and I sent her an email and explained the situation to her, that I had trusted her and she had sent me to this site, and now the site has been reported as a fraud and a scam. And she responded back to my email and says, I never advise anyone to invest in anything. My work is in medical profession. And besides that, I don't have a Telegram account. So the whole thing was a setup and a fraud. And I had trusted this person, and it ended up costing me all of my assets and totally wiped me out. So I have reached out, and a friend of mine that I've known for a long time had suggested last year that I start a GoFundMe account. And so I guess it's been about 2 months ago, and today it's March the 6th. And I am currently, I'm 73 years old, and I live on Social Security basically. And I use that money to pay bills. And now I've got 3 loans that I took out during this scam process. One for $7,000 that was, they used my car as collateral. So until I pay that loan off, I can't sell my car. And another loan was for $1,500. And then another loan was for $4,000. And all of that money I had sent to the scammers. And so I'm just paying bills now on my loans and my credit cards, which I'm only able to pay the minimums each month to, and they're growing in interest. And so I'm in a quandary, in quite a tight financial situation. And so I started GoFundMe to ask people that would listen to my story and be able to help me recover and pay off some of my debts. And that's what I'm doing today, asking you to help me if you can, if you feel led to, I would be most grateful and happy and peaceful, and it would be a real blessing to me. God bless you all.